mankind. Amara, the demigods deputed to control the affairs of maintenance. Avanishaha, and the kings of different planets. Ante, at the end, too, but adharma, irreligion. Hara, Lord Śiva. Amara-manyu-vaśāsurādyā, subjected to anger. Asura-ādayaha, atheists, the enemies of the devotees. Māyā, energy. Vibhūtayaha, powerful representatives. Imāḥ, all of them. Puru-śakti-bhājaḥ, of the Supreme Powerful Lord. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself, or Brahmā, and the Prajāpatis, the great sages who generate. Then, during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Viṣṇu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion. And then Lord Śiva and the atheists, full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord. Purport. The material world is created by the energy of the Lord, which is manifested in the beginning of the creation by the penance of Brahmaji, the first living being in the creation. And then there are the 9 Prajāpatis, known as great sages. In the stage when the creation is maintained, there are devotional service to Lord Viṣṇu or factual religion, the different demigods, and the kings of different planets who maintain the world. At last, when the creation is preparing to wind up, there is first the principle of irreligion, then Lord Śiva along with the atheists full of anger. But all of them are but different manifestations of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Brahmā, Viṣṇu, and Mahadev or Shiva are different incarnations of the different modes of material nature. Viṣṇu is the Lord of the mode of goodness. Brahmā is the Lord of the mode of passion. And Shiva is the Lord of the mode of ignorance. Ultimately, the material creation is but a temporary manifestation meant to give the chance of liberation to the conditioned souls who are entrapped in the material world and who develops the mode of goodness under the protection of Lord Viṣṇu has the greatest chance of being liberated by following the Vaishnava principles and thus being promoted to the kingdom of God, no more to return to this miserable material world. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself or Brahmā, and the Prajāpatis, the great sages who generate. Then, during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Viṣṇu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion, and then Lord Śiva and the atheists full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord. A little difficult verse because this is something we don't really think about. Let's put it that way. So, it is important to think from time to time how most people have a personal problem with creation. Most are not aware the purpose of creation, and most are not interested in knowing the purpose of creation. And there are some, or I would say many, who think that the purpose of creation is to fulfill my desires. It's called self-fulfillment. And that is conditioning. Srila Prabhupada talks about material conditioning. Now, material conditioning, we can say, is an obstacle on the spiritual path. We are all struggling to control the mind, to control the senses, to control the body. We're trying. But if a person thinks that this material world is for my enjoyment, then that is a problem. Then there will be no progress on the spiritual path. When we meet people, most of them, they have this understanding, or they believe that everything that happens, everything that is supposed to happen should be for my benefit. Like they say, what's in it for me? And I should get more than what I give. That is bad business. If I give someone $1 and I ask them to give me $10, that's very unfair. And it's not going to happen. But this is a mentality. I will give less, but I want more from others. And the thing is, this conditioning is that everything should be about me. I, me, and mine consciousness. In fact, you can say it's considered a virus for which there is no cure. And it's a terrible virus that spreads all over the consciousness, the mind, and it's like it's spread all over the body also. It's actually, you can say, it's an I, me, and mine syndrome. But that's delusion. We may think it's all about me. We may think that everything is meant for my enjoyment, but that's just delusion. You see, in this world, we, have options for, different kinds of yoga. People have follow different religions, etc. But in that also, it's all about me. A very deadly virus. And this virus is what places us at odds with creation. Now, Brahmaji is saying, from the beginning of creation, excuse me, there is penance. What is penance? Austerity. No one likes to be austere. Austerity is something that people run away from. Austerity, oh no, no, no. Especially those who are lazy, for them austerity is a complete no-no. So Srila Prabhupada says that this material world is created by the energy of the Supreme Lord, which is manifested in the beginning of creation. How? By penance of Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma performed severe austerities, that's when the creation took place. And people think, oh, Brahmaji has created this world for me to enjoy without penance, no austerity. Why? Because in enjoyment, there is no austerity. And anything that comes in the way of my enjoyment, whether it is the four regulative principles, whether it's chanting attentively, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, serving in the temple, serving other devotees, if anything comes, if any of these come in the way of my enjoyment, then I'm not happy. Then there is no happiness, because all these are, some consider these as impediments to sense enjoyment. Actually, one should contemplate on all the impediments that we may face or experience on the spiritual path and try to remove them. That is austerity. You see? So most people have long cherished desire to enjoy. The moment the child is born, he's also looking for enjoyment. He wants so many people around, trying to pacify, trying to, give different objects for enjoyment, some toys or nice talk or whatever, or good food or whatever it is. It starts right from the time we are born. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. So people think this creation has taken place for us to enjoy. And this sense of enjoyment is very dear to most, wanting to enjoy. Don't want anything or anyone to come in the way of my enjoyment. But Srila Prabhupada says this material creation is temporary. And what is the purpose of this creation? Important to understand. It is meant to give an opportunity to those conditioned souls who want to be liberated. Those who think that, oh, I am entrapped in this material world. I am entrapped in this material body. I want to liberate myself. I want mukti. This material creation is there, is created for such souls. And Prabhupada says only those who are in the mode of goodness, they get an opportunity. And how can they liberate themselves? By following Vaishnava principles. And Srila Prabhupada has given us all the Vaishnava principles that we require to liberate ourselves from this cycle of birth and death and go to a place where there is permanent happiness, where all desires can be fulfilled. Only then, when one follows these Vaishnava principles, then one is eligible to go back to the spiritual world. Then one is able to leave behind this miserable material world. Now, some may say, you are so pessimistic. Why do you keep saying material world is miserable? Why do you keep saying there are so many miseries? Well, the scriptures say that. The scriptures clearly tell us, even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam, that this material world is full of miseries and it is temporary. So this is not being pessimistic, it's called being realistic. To take knowledge from the scriptures, understand it, and apply it in our day-to-day life. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that when we qualify ourselves to liberate ourselves, then we leave behind this miserable material world, where it's not only full of miseries and temporary, but what are the miseries? Birth, disease, old age, and death. And Srila Prabhupada has given us the process. Very simple. Chant and be happy. Follow the 4 regulative principles. Read the scriptures. Perform devotional service. This way we just purify ourselves and go to the spiritual world. Why do we read Srimad Bhagavatam every morning? Because Srimad Bhagavatam is about Krishna. It is about Krishna's devotees. And above all, it gives us the process to perform devotional service. And it's only because of the scriptures that we learn who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who are his devotees? What are the pastimes of the Lord? And also, what is the process to perform devotional service? And that's mentioned in this verse itself. It's specifically, we get a picture of a cycle that physical manifestation goes through. The whole physical manifestation. What does the verse say? There is beginning, there is middle, and then there is end. Everything physical comes to an end, right? So in the beginning, there was penance, which is tapasya. Tapasya means austerity. And in the beginning, Lord Brahma. You see, it is tapasya, the austerity that generates power. And that power is divyam. It's transcendental. And it is this tapasya, this austerity that can be used for spirituality. It can be used for performing devotional service. Or this tapasya can be done by demons who want benedictions, like Hiranyakashipu. He performed very severe penance, very severe austerities, standing on the tip of his toes with hands up, looking up, and, meditating on the Supreme Lord. I think he was meditating on Lord Brahma to get a benediction from him. So whether it is for good or for bad, austerity is necessary. It should better be for good. And what is the opposite of penance or tapasya or austerity? It is sense enjoyment, sense gratification. So in penance or tapasya, it generates power. But when we are enjoying the senses, that power is lost. In tapasya, it is gained, and in sense enjoyment, it is lost. Wish people knew that, but most people don't. They are only interested in satisfying the body. It's like puja, doing puja to the body, offering different items of sense enjoyment to the body, making sure body looks beautiful and well-fed, and enjoying the vacation or possessions or people, whatever. It's all on the bodily concept of life. So in the beginning, there is penance, there is Lord Brahma, and in the middle, there is Lord Viṣṇu. Of course, he is there in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And in the middle, Lord Viṣṇu maintains. As we have heard in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. So first Krishna creates, and then Lord Brahma is the secondary creator, and Lord Viṣṇu is the maintainer. In the middle, he maintains. There is real religion because it's associated with Lord Viṣṇu. Lord Viṣṇu is associated with the mode of pure goodness, purity of mode of goodness. And the religious concepts that manifest from lower modes are not quite religion. They may be called religion, but they are not. Religion formulates when there is Lord Viṣṇu. And important to understand that there is no religion without bhakti. No religion without bhakti. Bhakti is very essential. What is bhakti? Devotional service. Very, very important. So Srila Prabhupada says when the creation is maintained, then there is devotional service to Lord Viṣṇu, or factual religion. He calls it factual religion. So devotional service or bhakti is the essential part of our lives. It should be the essential part of our lives. That is real religion. Service to the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada talks about dharma in the purport. Dharma means one's duty, not one's belief. Oh, I believe in this or I believe in that. That's not dharma. It is our constitutional behavior. You see, to serve the Lord, that is our constitutional position. Just like the red pepper or chilies is spicy. Tube light gives light. That is the eternal nature or dharma. Sugar is sweet. Water is liquid. That's their dharma. So what is our dharma? Jivera swarup hoy, Krishnara nitya das. Nitya means eternal. Das means servant. So that is our swarup, to be eternal servant of the Lord. Now, religion is on bodily consideration, like I'm born in Hindu family, so I am a Hindu. My family is following Hindu religion. I'm born a Christian and my family is following Christianity, so I am Christian. That is based on birth. And that religion can change when we accept new body. Now in this life, I'm a Hindu, maybe next life a Christian, or the following life may be a Muslim. So that changes based on the body we take. But the Sanatan Dharma, the eternal Dharma, is being servant of Krishna. That does not change because that is on the platform of soul, spirit soul. So there's difference between body and soul. If it's based on body, that dharma can change. I'm born in this family, so I follow this religion. Then the next life may be another religion. But the dharma of the spirit soul remains the same. Jivera Swarup hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das, eternal servant of the Lord. Dharma is our religious duty. So the scriptures give us Sanatan Dharma, Varnashrama Dharma. They give us knowledge about Dharma. Problem comes when we want to be the enjoyers instead of servants of the Lord. Now this verse says, at the end, there is irreligion. Irreligion. Then Lord Śiva and angry atheists, and then there is destruction. This is how this creation takes place, and it is destroyed also. We have heard before in Srimad Bhagavatam that there are two annihilations. One is at the end of Brahma's day, means after 24 hours, there's partial annihilation. And then when Brahma completes 100 years of his life, then there is complete annihilation. Now, 100 years not compared to our earthly 100 years, but the celestial years. So when we calculate based on Srimad Bhagavatam, the 100 years of Lord Brahma is equal to our earthly years, 311 trillion, 40 billion years. That's when complete annihilation takes place. So Srila Prabhupada talks about dharma in the purport. And now dharma refers to, normal or natural state of things. Dharma means a set of qualities, right, that makes existence of something possible. If the bottle had no shape or form or color or properties, it would not be. You wouldn't call it a bottle. It has certain properties, so it exists. So dharma refers to a set of properties or qualities that makes existence of something possible. Like, let's say, qualities of a king. There are certain qualities that makes a person a king. Then that person is called a king. Not that dress up like a king and then you are a king. No, that does not make a king. That person has to fit the criteria required to be a king. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear about King Vena. He was born and he was enthroned as the king, but he had to be removed because he didn't have the qualities of a king. He was not fit to be a king. No qualities at all. So dharma is a natural state of things which are defined by the Supreme Lord himself. So this verse is talking about at the end, there is destruction. Why? Because of irreligion. There is no dharma. There is only adharma. So definitely all things have to collapse. Now Lord Śiva is given the power to oversee this process of destruction. So there is this is a whole process. So there's creation, then there's maintenance, and then there's destruction. So the question should arise in our minds, what do we do in this material world? First of all, understand it is temporary. Understand this body is temporary. Relatives are temporary. Possessions are temporary. Wealth is temporary. Nothing is permanent. Only the spirit soul is permanent. We cannot take anything with us at the time of death, nothing at all. We have to leave behind our degrees that we have earned, all the academic education, the credit cards, the bank balance, this body. We have to leave behind this body, relatives, house, cars, everything. We cannot take anything with us at the time of death. Only thing that we can take with us is our spiritual bank balance. How much have we earned spiritually? That is what we take with us and then carry forward in our next life. You see, the time is running out. We are almost towards the end of June, which means half of the year is gone. We cannot get it back. We cannot go back to the beginning of the year and say, hey, I want it to be January 1st so I can celebrate New Year. No, that will be next year. You see? So if, say, for instance, 6 months of this year have already passed, let us think about this. What did I do? How did I use this time? Did I use it wisely? Or did I just waste it? What did I accomplish? Not just materially, but spiritually also. What are my accomplishments? Maybe write down in a diary. How was my attitude towards spirituality? What did I do? Did I improve my chanting? Did I read more? Did I associate more with devotees? Did I increase my service, seva? Did I do that? You see? So it's time to contemplate on the time that we have used so far and make a plan for the remaining part of the year. That is, if we are still around. Of course, we feel that I'm not going to die before I'm 100, but there is no guarantee. So the process of devotional service, bhakti yoga, is very simple and it is easy. All one needs is to be sincere. Actually, anything that we do in life requires sincerity. If we are not sincere about something, we're not going to make that effort to make it work. So sincerity means being focused. Okay, this is my goal, so let me focus on it and see how can I achieve my goal. In fact, the scriptures tell us, live each day like this is the last day. Supposing we all got an appointment with death, and we got a letter, or an email saying, hey, today is your last day, tomorrow you'll be gone. So what would we do? Like, oh, today is the last day, what should I do? Excuse me. Let me really chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let me chant attentively. Let me hear these powerful sound vibrations. Let me just concentrate my mind on the Supreme Lord. But unfortunately, most people are busy making future plans. You see, we cannot do anything about the past. Whatever has happened in the past, there's nothing we can do to change it. We don't know what future holds for us. Does anyone know what is going to happen tomorrow, day after, or whenever? We don't know the future. So why worry about it? Instead, what we have now is the present. So the question is, what do I do in the present that is necessary? What we do in the present really matters. Like, for instance, now we are listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. We are all so very fortunate. We're getting knowledge from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are learning about the Supreme Lord. We are learning about creation. We are learning about his devotees like Lord Brahmā. You see? So now that we have this opportunity, what do we do with it? There are two options. Take full advantage of it or let it go. But who makes that choice? We do. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto. I'm situated in everyone's heart. Mataha smriti jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. He's making it very clear. I'm there in the heart to guide you, provided you take the guidance. So he's waiting for us to make the choice. What do we want? Do we want to get knowledge about Krishna? Do we want to remember him or forget him? Many times when we speak on the Srimad Bhagavatam, those who are listening, they take it very seriously. Yes, this is the process. Now that I have this, how do we get this opportunity to hear Krishna Katha? How? It's not, Krishna doesn't say ina mina mina mo and then boom, this one will get opportunity, that one will not get. No. We have accumulated pious credit from our past lives. We have that, you can say a balance of piety with us. And based on that, we get the opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to hear Krishna Katha. It's not random. So now that we have accumulated piety and got this opportunity, again, it's our choice. It's like, I buy a lottery ticket and I earn, say, $10 million. So I'm informed that, hey, you've won $10 million. What do I do with that? Well, I can get that $10 million and use it, or I can let it go. Like, oh, that's okay. So this opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam is a lot more valuable than $10 million. It's a very valuable opportunity. But then again, we have two options. Krishna has given us that minute independence to decide, what do I want to do? Take advantage, use it wisely, or just let it go. So now that we have this, you can say, a treasure house of Srila Prabhupada's books, so we can decide, what do we do? Do we read them, understand them, put them into practice, apply them in our lives, or just hear from one ear and let it go from the other? Or I'll just attend for some time and then let me go do what I want to do. But an intelligent person will grab this opportunity and hold on to it and make the best use of this golden opportunity. You see, Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. He's given us his books. He's given us temples, devotees, prasadam, association, festivals, everything that we need. His books are the guiding light for us. He's there to guide us through his books. But then again, it is up to us whether we take advantage of it or let it be. It's not going to disturb Krishna at all. It's not going to disturb Srila Prabhupada. It's not going to make any difference, but it will make a difference in our lives. And the Supreme Lord will be so pleased to see that here is a living entity. Here is this human being who's got this rare human form after many, many lifetimes, is making the best use of a human form of life. Why? Because along with this human body comes philosophical intelligence, which we can use to understand what's right, what's wrong, what we need to do, what we shouldn't do. So it pleases the Supreme Lord a lot to see that his children are making an effort to understand him, to understand his knowledge, to understand this creation, to understand what is the purpose of this creation. Krishna has not created this world to eat, sleep, and be merry. No, it's for self-realization. So an intelligent person will use this philosophical intelligence and take up Krishna consciousness very seriously. And being focused. Sincerely means being focused. Focused on what? Focused on making sure that this human form is utilized in the right way. Just like when we buy a new car or a new gadget, along with that comes an owner's manual. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, they are owner's manual for us for this human form of body. It teaches us how to use this human form of body for best maximum benefit. Everyone likes benefits. Everyone likes, to progress materially. But how about spiritually too? So this verse is talking to us about creation, how the creation takes place, what happens in the middle, and what happens towards the end. So the simple formula for understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, the simple formula to understand even Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of all Vedic scriptures, is I am a spirit soul. And my constitutional position is to serve the Supreme Lord. To come out of this cycle of birth and death, repeated birth and death, and go to the place where I belong, which is the spiritual world. Many times I use this example. Take a fish out of the water. Give the fish a $10 million home with a huge feast to eat, give a lot of jewelry, gems and diamonds and rubies and emeralds and, a big car. Is the fish going to be happy? No, because fish wants to be in the water. That's his constitutional position. So we are like fish out of the water here in this material world, come down from the spiritual world, and we are hoping that big homes and cars and possessions and all these things will make us happy. No. We will be happy when we go back into our constitutional position, which is in the spiritual world, because we are spiritual beings. We are not human beings. We are spiritual beings having human experience right now. And that is what Bhagavad Gita teaches us right from the beginning. That's the foundational knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, that we are not this body. We are the spirit soul. To understand the difference between body and soul. Then we can build up on our spiritual lives once we understand that. So here, this verse is explaining to us about creation, maintenance, and destruction, and giving us, Srila Prabhupada in his purport is giving us a purpose to understand this whole verse. The purpose is to understand that we need to come out of the cycle of birth and death, follow the Vaishnava principles, and liberate ourselves, come out of this cycle. So the verse once again, at the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself or Brahmā, and the Prajāpatis, the great sages who generate. Then during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Viṣṇu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion. And then Lord Śiva and the atheists, full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord. So I'll end here. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful lecture. So many points to pick on in the analogies, especially the one that you gave last, the one about the fish, and giving all of these toys to the fish. But the fish will not be happy unless it's back in the water. Very, 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 very important point, that we think we're going to be happy, but actually we're an illusion thinking that way, because our home is in the spiritual world and that's where the happiness is. Thank you for explaining it so simply and to the point. Dear devotees, this is the time for questions or realizations or whatever you want to share from the scripture that connects to this, or doesn't even connect to what we talked about today. It's all about Krishna. So you can unmute yourself and share what's on your mind. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept mine. All glories to
Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for wonderful instructions.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Like you said, we all got $10 million chance, so we better utilize it properly. So, of course, like Prabhupada gave us simple method to go back to Godhead, chant your rounds. That is the main thing, and follow the regulative principles. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gita ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else that would like to share?
Hare Krishna, Mother Gita. Please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhupada. Just like Parikshit said, a lot of points, like a lot of points to meditate on. Mother, when you were speaking about this last example, the fish out of water, of course, it reminds me of Prabhupada's, the old days drama, fish out of water, I think, something like that. And I was really thinking, Mother, and then the comment that Krishna Smaranam Prabhu just made, we have been given so much, an opportunity to go back and, comparing ourselves to the fish, and, but somehow, Mother, I'm trying to understand what's the missing point in, a variable in the equation, as they say. Like when you give something to the fish to get it out of the water, it just wants to be back where it belongs. But whereas for us, like you mentioned in the earlier part of your lecture, we just think that the material world has been created for our benefit, for us, but that desire or that longing to want to go back to our home like the fish is not very strong. It almost sounds like the fish has a stronger desire than we do. When you pull them out of the water, they are suffocating, right? Because they can feel, oh my God, this is abnormal. I'm like dying. Like I was I was remembering a pastime, Mother, years ago. Someone said that one devotee was giving a class and said that, when we are drowning and we cannot swim, that's when we call for God. And, like, oh my God, because we cannot swim, we're drowning, right? So, Mother, what is the missing? What is the missing factor in our lives that is not making us feel like we cannot live like the fish? You take it out of the water, they're like, no, bring back my water, like that. And I mean, we've heard, it's Krishna consciousness, it's faith, it's trust. But what is that that's stopping us from developing that missing factor?
Yes, when you were talking, when you started speaking, I was thinking about this drowning, when you were saying,
Yes.
because a fish cannot breathe as soon as it's out of the water. So that urgency is there to be back in the water. But for us, because most people are so engrossed in enjoying the senses, that urgency does not seem to be important. That urgency is not there. But the moment, like for instance, I don't know to swim and I'm drowning, that urgency pops up because this body is very dear to us. We don't want it to die. We don't want to give up this body. The soul doesn't want to leave the body. So that urgency comes when we are, like we are unable to breathe, like in the water, like we are drowning. So because most of us are so deeply rooted in sense gratification that, this thought about understanding, oh, this material world is temporary, this body is all those thoughts don't come at all. Why? Because we are enjoying and we think we are enjoying. Just like Prabhupada gives the example of a camel. Camel is biting on thorns and is tasting its own blood and thinks that's enjoyment, right? So that is how we are here in this material world. Until and unless, at least I've heard many cases where people become serious about God only when there is disaster. Like, okay, like they come to know that they're going to die very soon, maybe in 3 months, or they have a deadly disease, or whatever it may be. It has to be like the greatest shock in life. Why wait for that? We have this knowledge, we understand, but see the fish, what is it that brings it out of the water? The bait. Thinking that if I eat that, it's going to make me so happy. Not realizing that that is a trap to take it out of the water. And we don't even see the trap. Maya is our trap. We don't see it. We don't realize it. And even if we do, we say, it's not going to bother me. It's not going to affect me. Right?
Yeah.
So that trap is there. And then urgency is not there. What to do?
So, my mother, what I'm getting from your response is the urgency is weak.
Very.
That's very, very weak. So, mother, I have a follow-up question. As you're speaking about urgency, why is it? I may know the answer, but probably my mind is not thinking right now. But why is it, mother, that when it comes to material responsibilities, family responsibilities, anything, we'll just jump up and get up and go with no excuse because it's attractive, it's different, it's flamboyant, I don't know what it is. But when it comes to Krishna consciousness or service or sadhu sangha, then we have this excuse and that excuse and this excuse. So what is it that's making us not see, that we should have that same urgency or even more in spiritual life, but we give it so easily to every other obligation outside of our spiritual life?
Yes. Srila Prabhupada talks about this in the purport, and he says it's conditioning. We are conditioned. I remember this story where this gentleman, he had a camel, and he would, in the desert, they use the camel to go from one place to another, and he used to carry, loads of stuff on the camel's back and take it from one place to another place. So the camel had a rope, they have a rope, I think, tied to the mouth or something, and then this gentleman holds the rope and guides the camel wherever he wants to go. So he would take the camel, pull with the what you call with the rope, and go to the place of his business in the market, to sell or whatever. So he would tie the rope to a tree, and then as soon as the rope would be tied, the camel would automatically sit down, and then this man could take out all the stuff from his bag. So one day it so happened that the rope of the camel kind of broke. He didn't have, so he guided the by pushing the camel, and brought him to the place where he wanted to business, but the camel wouldn't sit down. Then
Conditioning.
this man had to pretend that even though there's no rope, he had to pretend that he's holding the rope and he's tying it to the tree, and immediately the camel sat down. Conditioning, even though there's no rope. But that activity, that action, that is the conditioning. So we are conditioned, to enjoy in this world. We are conditioned that I am this body. We are conditioned that this body is meant for enjoyment. So Prabhupada says in the book, this material conditioning has to be removed. And that is why this creation takes place, to give us an opportunity to become unconditioned. Like, cleanse our consciousness and be able to understand purpose of human life. Does that make sense?
Sorry. Yes, mother. Yeah. And the conditioning, and that's why we are called conditioned souls. And we have to uncondition. Yep.
And
Yep.
trap.
And in order to come out of the trap, we really have to be urgent.
Yes.
in our Krishna consciousness. If not, we'll continue being conditioned. Yeah. Thank you, Mother. Thank you.
Prabhupada gives another example is that, if there's fire in the house, we run. There's urgency. We don't want to get burned. We don't want to die. That urgency is there. So there has to be some fire. Why should we wait for a fire? Why should we wait for disaster to happen to become serious?
Yes. And sometimes, Mother, I think I read, I don't know whether it was Prabhupada's transcription in one of his lectures or from another sannyasi, that I was reading this a few months back, that when we go to someone's funeral, that's when we start thinking, oh my God, I got to be serious, and I have to really take it serious because that can be me, like that. But once we leave the funeral, I think it was Prabhupada's lecture, but once we leave the funeral, after a few days or week, we forget everything.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Yes.
back to, back to the ground. We forget everything. Like you said, Mother, it takes something disastrous or sad or something to snap us, and then we go back again to our conditioning. Yeah. Thank you, Mother.
Yes, that's called Markat Vairagya, monkey Vairagya. It's only for a little while and then it's gone.
Yes. Yes, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much. Damodar, you can unmute yourself. Comments or questions.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please
Hare-
accept my humble obeisances. All glory to the Prabhupada. All
Okay.
glory to the devotees on the call. Very nice class and a nice discussion on the points. I was remembering two other analogies about the same points, but I have a couple of questions. So the first one was in the class you were mentioning that we are getting this opportunity to hear because we have done some pious activity in the past life, and in other classes, some other places, I've also heard that it is not just our pious deeds, or it is not even our pious deeds in the past life or this life, but it's more like a mercy of the devotees that we are able to hear it, because like me personally, if I take it, like if I think what kind of pious activity I might have done to get an opportunity to hear, it's like they say, like it's a mercy of the devotees that we are able to hear it. So how do I look at these 2 points that you were like mentioning?
You look at both. You can look at both. That yes, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaya," right? Out of thousands, only one will try, and out of those thousands, that one is the one who has, performed devotional service before. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says that a person who does devotional service to him, he is never lost, or he gets an opportunity in the next life to be born in a devotee family or Brahmana family, where he gets the opportunity to continue from where he left off. So it is pious credit, plus it is mercy of the devotees also. They get the opportunity to associate, and because of their mercy, they continue and they progress. I cannot remember what is that mercy called. I can't remember. There is a word for that.
Karuna, I guess. Causeless mercy.
No, not
Satama Kripa Mataji.
what?
Satama Kripa.
No, there's another word for it, where we get the mercy even though we may not deserve it, and it's just by meeting a devotee. Oh,
Agyata?
Agyata
Ahetuki Kripa
Sukriti,
Mataji.
Agyata Sukriti.
Yes, Agyata Sukriti. That's right. That's the one. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna. All right. Damodar, you said you had another question, or is this just two that are combined now?
Yeah, I have another question. It's more like based on the verse, and I wanted to like understand uh, the the role of Brahma Durga, and then the material energy, that is Maya, that we call, I guess, in the creation, like, so that's the one thing, because I always, like, want to ask this question, but it's like, not connecting to anywhere, so I always skip it. But I think today is the correct time, I guess.
And the correct thing to do is ask Parikshit Prabhu to answer.
Repeat the question. Repeat the question. I heard part of it, but I thought you were going to answer, so I didn't do it. You
So
said
the question
who?
is Lord Brahma, and then Durga, and material energy, which is Maya, that we call. So what is, like, what are their roles in the creation? Because we many times have heard Brahma is there, and then Durga is also somewhere associated, and then Maya is also there. So I kind of, like, not very clear about the understanding. So that's the thing.
They all have their roles. Hare Krishna, Devi Buddhist, please accept my holy obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. So from Gavadak side, Vishnu, Brahma learned to create his situation. That is his situation. And by the way, I wanted to make one comment. So based on Lord Brahma, and it's also in the text. So Gita Mataji was explaining to us about having to be, doing the penance, be in that consciousness of doing penance. And Lord Brahma is a prime example. He went through penance before he could even create. So who are we not to do penance? He did himself just like that. Okay, so his creation. Durga is the superintendent of material energy. There are, maybe if you had a company, there's a CEO, but there are vice presidents, and then there are managers of different departments. And so, there's a hierarchy like that. Lord Brahma creates as Mataji was saying, second creator, and from Lord Viṣṇu. Brahma creates the varieties in the universes. Then Durga is given superintendence of it, or control of it, handling it. And you talked about Maya. Well, Maya is in two categories, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. So if we just stay with the material energy alone, since Brahma has created material energy, Durga is superintendent material energy. So let's talk about Mahamaya. Yoga Maya is for spiritual and for pure devotees, their activities with the pastimes of the Lord. Mahamaya also helps us, but that's devotees' understanding. Everybody else, Mahamaya puts them in illusion. Mahamaya helps devotees to take Krishna consciousness seriously by exposing the weak points that are there that need to be worked on. That's what Mahamaya is. So Maya is not our enemy. But we don't like Maya too much because he lets us know by putting temptations to do things that shouldn't be done, but he'll tempt you by testing you to see, if I put it this way, will you fall into it? Then you learn your lesson. You're not so determined to get away from the wrongdoing. See, so Maya points that to us like that. So those are the different roles as far as devotees go. But non-devotees, Maya has already put them in a situation where, they think that they have to, because we came from the spiritual world, thinking that we wanted our control over things. So then we're put in the material world. So people are still thinking of control, how to control. If I come up with this particular gadget, it's going to make my life more convenient or easier. Therefore, as long as I'm coming up with different gadgets, I'm going to be happy at some point. The happiness never comes, but people still want to do one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And so that's Maya that puts non-devotees in that situation of thinking that the solution will come in the material world. So that's the rules of the three. Hare Krishna. Hopefully that's helpful. Unless you want to follow it up with another question. It's up to you.
Perfect
Hare
explanation. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, he said something. Okay. Any other questions?
I got it, yeah.
All right. Hare Krishna. Any other?
As you were answering Damodar, I was searching on Krishna.com and Vani quotes, and I think, and please let me know if I'm saying it right or if I understood it right or wrong.
Yeah, just add to it. Good.
Like you mentioned, Durga Devi is, observed as the jailer, the superintendent, and Maya is the illusory energy, where she makes everything very illusory. Is that how you would say it is?
I was trying to find a simpler word to kind of play and explain the role of Durga. But I'm actually more curious now, since you went to Bani Coast. What did you find there? That's what I want to know, to say you went there. There's maybe another way of. Did you not find anything? That would be kind of strange.
I did, but somehow now I'm not able to open that page because
whatever.
For what I'm trying to open that page and it's not letting me open the page, but I can definitely show you afterwards. But what it said on Krishna.com, it said that Lord Brahma is the engineer. It did use that word,
Yeah.
and then
that's great.
Yes, and they described Durga Devi as the jailer. And I think the word you use is pretty much like a superintendent.
Yes.
Yes, and it described Maya as the illusory energy. And I wish I can open that. It is not letting me open.
With illusory energy, meaning that people think that they're going to be happy here.
Yes.
Illusion is believing something that's not true.
Yes.
But you really believe it strongly and live life like that.
Yes, and then towards the last, it's a pretty long write-up, article, but towards the end, it concluded by saying that if we want to try to enjoy separately from Krishna, that is the illusory energy, which is Maya. That's what it said. That was the conclusion. Yeah.
It won't work.
It won't work, yeah.
It will not work. I wish you could tell the rest of the world it's like that. All these nations that are in so much Maya, especially the leaders, thinking that their own solutions. I mean, I'll just say one thing about it, if you don't mind, Mother Gita. We set up United Nations. How many problems in the nations have ever been solved by the United Nations? Try answering that question. What's been solved? Nothing. The only credit you can give them, there's war here and there's one, and then they're trying to just broker some peace. So then they gather soldiers from other countries and they form one unit and they say, this is the peacekeeping force. That's as much as they've gone, they've gone to the United Nations. So Papa laughs at the whole United Nations, says, go to the United Nations, their headquarters, New York. There's so many flags from different countries. What do they tell us? We are all separated. We're living not only under one flag. We're living so, and they say we're united. Really? You can have so many flags united? So Papa says, at that time, United Nations had been 30 years. At that time, he was around. After the 1940s, United Nations formed. And it's the year 1970 something. So he says, for the last 30 years, they haven't been doing anything. And they will never be able to do anything, solve anything. So here we are. It's the illusion. Find our own problems and go to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Because spirituality is missing in United Nations.
Absolutely. It's missing there too, yeah. It's missing among the leaders. So here we are. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. The solution is so simple, but how many people know? Anyway, I'm getting on my soapbox. Let me just start. I just start laughing about this whole situation. We're very fortunate. We're really very fortunate to be devotees. To the Prabhupada's mercy. Okay, Mataji. I'm done. Just the material, I'll start laughing and going on and on and on. Hare Krishna. Any final questions from the devotees, please? If not, then thank you, Mataji. Your classes are always very inspiring and so many messages are sent to us. We all really appreciate it. Hare Krishna. Everybody have a nice rest of your week. Over here, there's a heat wave, so be careful. Some people have already had heat stroke, even some of the children did. So be careful when you're outside. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.